Meanwhile, we head to Sue's, who is unable to really see anything. She tells herself that I should never allow him to run away at all, because it was only yesterday. He is being bullied. Today, he will be able to survive for a full day inside this mysterious world. That's why I have to catch him by any means possible and make him confess his secret. We go back again to Lee, and whoever is very close to the door will be able to escape. But she comes and activates her skill and uses all the tools available and blocks the road. In front of me, when Hoa turns and looks at him, he is surprised to find that all the existing barriers have been removed. This and its rainwater around it. At that time, he was surprised and said that destroying public property was supposed to be a violation of the laws. Basically school. How could she, as class president, do something like this even though she commented on what I was going for the same reason? At this time, you keep throwing him in the air and bring down the iron he had on the place where he was standing. But he was able to avoid her attack at the last moment. At that time, a bad man stood in front of him, then hit the pillars he had with him, and he fell to the ground. And you say that since you don't want to admit how you stormed off yesterday, she asks you another question. But this time, you have to tell the truth. You then continue and tell him who was your partner in what you did and where is he now. He gets very nervous for me and says to himself, it looks like she already found out about QS existence. Now she is ready for all of this to corner me and force me to tell her everything about him. He then continues and says, sure, it would be an exaggeration for her to be ready for all these things because, just me. Here he looks at her and refuses to return it and tells her, I will not allow you to do what you want. Sue gets frustrated with his words and tells him, okay, you look like this. We want to use my method. Here she grabs the pillar she has and builds her house on it with all her might. But before you touch these columns, they touch Y bacon. Activate the merge skill and select the dogs. Diseases. Once he is able to take their code, he is able to avoid her attack. He runs away from her and starts to be cautious. It's bad that when you see what happened, you are very shocked and can't believe it. She always throws her poles at a very high speed in his direction and succeeds in knocking them down. His place now. But what was surprising was that he was also able to avoid her attack. This is what makes his voice more fanatical, and you say that you are really a very annoying person. Here, she holds all the poles that are with her and installs them in a cage-like page. She takes advantage of this moment and goes to imprison him inside her while he is unconscious because of the incident. You walk up to him after that and tell him, I didn't expect you to have all these skills. This time, I'm sure you won't be able to escape again. But then, as soon as you see his bag, you hold it in amazement and wonder if this is the same bag. The one who was talking to her a while ago. She says I'm sure this isn't the same bag he brought to school yesterday. At this moment, she guesses that there is something very strange about the bag he has, and that he might be in. A monster is hidden in it and there is no need. But she changes her mind all the time and says, sure, this is impossible, because the hole I found under my it is more than 2 meters long. This means that it is absolutely impossible for a monster of this size to be hidden in a small bag like this. At the same time, on the other hand, Lisa's monsters remain sane with the help of the regime. They wake up and actually appreciate that they excel in the end. Why does he wake up while holding his head? Because he is in pain from the incident. He himself tells me that the appearance of having a brain with this dog only diminishes my abilities. No, this also reduces my zakat as well. After that, as soon as he turns around, he finds the woman holding the bag and he keeps yelling at her. He tells her, get my bag now. But she is far away from that time and prefers to be upset about it. And you tell him to be wise about your reaction. I seem to have found the correct answer to all my questions. And your partner is definitely hiding inside this bag. It annoys her at that time. He tells her this is something you can't be careful about, because the thing hidden in the bag is very strong. Because I can't control it. If you took him out here, this whole school could be destroyed in an instant. She also refuses to listen to his words. And she says it as long as it is something dangerous in this way, it will be important that we take him out to examine him. I only hope that you will cooperate with me when the time for the examination comes. At this moment, he realizes that she did not believe his words. He would be very surprised at the time. As soon as she opens the bag, a very new aura appears because of his iron. And all the nothingness and animals that I had stored before come out of it. For this reason, she of course stays silent and shocked, unable to comprehend everything that happened. And here he gets frustrated for me and directs the words to him and tells him, whatever happens, take care of him. The roof so you don't break it. Sue is surprised by his words and does not understand what he is talking about. But as soon as she looks at it, she is shocked when she sees Kyo, who is so huge in front of her. At that time, she gets afraid and moves away from him very quickly, then yells at me and tells him to answer me. Honestly, what did you bring to this school? He actually answers her to me and tells her that the thing in front of you is called Q. He remains a monster from the Banjo era and has reached maturity for some time. So, when she hears this, she gets very excited. So she puts on her gloves again and tells me why you really brought something very wonderful. For school. He is shocked at her words and goes to annoy her and tells her, you sure don't think you are going to kill me? Now. But she responds to him and says that I will surely kill him, because I will never have a chance like this again. The future. And after that, you fall into love and tell me to let this monster of yours kill me now because I don't. I am responsible if I offend you greatly. Here she activates a skill and uses all the iron around her and forms a hand. Very huge. She then asks me, "Is it because I want to know from you whether you are qualified to kill this monster of yours or not?" No. In this case, I would be surprised at all by what I see. He calls Q afterward, frustrated, and tells this girl that you can't consider her an enemy or a food. I mean, in the end, you can't swallow it or even grind it with your teeth or any of the other things. Do you do this? He responds to Q and tells him not to worry. I won't use all my strength against her. Except when you hear his words, you become very fanatical and tell him, "How are you after all this?" And he doesn't even consider me. Discount for you. Then Kyo stops her and tells her, "I want you to hit me with all your might now." In fact, she breathes his words and does the same, but he remains standing in his place and takes turns and does not stop. He paid her no attention at all. All the while, he repelled the blow to his back while standing and walking around the pillars. But here, when he sees her staring at me, he almost dies of terror and screams at me that it's him. He saves him before she kills him. In fact, Biggie Q puts his hand on him and hits all the pillars and takes him out of the cage. Then, here he does not waste his time and keeps looking everywhere, and he is very surprised that he does not. I see it. But then he is surprised when he finds that she has chosen the basket in the basket and is stuffed in it, but she cannot. She moves and meets working dogs that spring on her. At that time, she gives a collar and says, "Come, help me and get me out of this basket quickly and leave the dogs behind. Yours are far from me too." He stands in front of her at that time and tells her, "I agree, but only since I answered your questions. You are also welcome to answer my questions." He then continues and tells her that I saw well that my father's picture was on the badge. Yours. Now I want to know what is the relationship between you and him. Sue gets very angry at this time and responds to him and tells him, "Why do you search for things?" "My own." But after that, she starts talking to him and says, "You know that 7 years ago, he missed the monster whose name is Zulonji had attacked the city and was estimated to have annihilated a very large part of it. On that day, my mother was stuck under the rubble, and I kept trying to get her out with all my might, but that was it. Without any benefit. Together. Come save us from this predicament." It's ponds and distant sand. In this way, he saved my mother on that day. I was very happy with her words at that time. He says that I was sure that my father had never been a coward or run away from any fight, and he was the one who was beaten. He defeated the very Zlon monster by himself. You respond badly to him and tell him that what you say is true, and from the moment I met him, I was hoping that one day we will be as strong and as bright as him. She then continues, frustrated, and says, "But in the end, after so many years training, I was defeated very easily from the first monster I encountered since the bingo era, and I'm still weak to the point. Now, then why did he try to calm her down and say no? Don't worry because you can train with Q all the time as you want." But Q gets very angry at that time and responds to him and objects to his words. When he meets her, she feels for him and says that he is nice, and he asks me if he can say it now. But he refuses to me at that time and tells him to shut up or I will put you on a very harsh diet. As for Suva, she continues and tells him where he usually lives. Because you definitely won't keep him locked in this bag all the time. He then tells me a silly laugh and tells her that he actually still escaped from the egg yesterday. After a while, he reached the stage of maturity and began to speak. I mean, its size was never that big. So, when you know this information, why do you ignore it all the time? She talks to Kyo and asks him if he wants to come and live in her house. So they prefer to train together. He rejected her words at that time. He tells her who is the stupid person who would be willing to be a punching bag to train you. She only interrupts her time and says, "We won't forget." She tells you that my house is in a mysterious world and the space is large. Very there. Other than that, you can also eat at your convenience as you want at any time. Here, as soon as he hears you say these conversations, he immediately agrees and is very excited and happy. But he gets angry at me at the time because of everything else she does. He tells her, "I will not allow you to kidnap my monster in front of me in this way." She responds to him and tells him, "Sorry, I completely forgot about you, but you can come with us as you are. I want." He thinks to himself for a while and tells her client, "Let him think about this matter later. But the important thing is that now I want you to know what happened between my father and the monsters alone." She responds to me and tells her she's sorry, but I don't know what happened after that because it was already done. We saved my mother from the soldiers of the administration center. Unfortunately, due to the serious injury that happened to her, she died soon. Immediately after that, my current father was the one who adopted me at the time. But when the management center took me again to express my gratitude to your father, because he lost my life, I had heard the rumors that came out about him. At that time, all the soldiers there were working and mocking me. He gets very annoyed with his words and says to himself something strange right now. Because according to what SOH said, there should have been a very large number of soldiers witnessing the battle that took place. It was between my father and the monsters alone. But now I don't understand why radiation is still widespread until today. In this case, Sue interrupts his thoughts and tells him not to be too distracted because the most important thing in her story is, your father hasn't said it yet. It is that when I did not find your father at that time in the center of power, he had no other solution but me. I returned to the ruins of my house where he saved me. There I saw something very strange, which was the badge that your father always wore. But the problem is that there is blood everywhere around it. For me, it was impossible for him to die because he was a very strong person when he was old. Defeated by this monster. He is surprised by her words at the time and asks her if this badge is still in the same place. Then Alissu responds, opening her bag and saying, "This is the thing I asked of you. Come to him today." At that time, he keeps her silent all the time because a red warning appears from the system that there are strange movements very around him. At that time, he turns on the monster radar and tells Suze again because something very strange is happening around us now. The first time he looks at it, he is surprised that your size is on the radar. It has grown significantly more than it was the last time. Is present in it. When he looks at the strange thing that is approaching them, he is shocked to find him inside the gym too. Indeed, he stood behind them exactly. But at that time, my fear increases more and more when he looks behind him and is unable to see anything. Then the regime comes to him and tells him, "Unfortunately, you will not be able to see him because he is a hidden monster. But it will definitely not be hidden from me when I finish. I will solve this monster for you, and its name is Ain. Evil." Then he looks at his dogs and is surprised when they start barking in the direction of the beast. He wonders if they too were able to see him. But then he changes his mind and tells them that they must be doing this because of their strong sense of smell. They have. Then he immediately ordered them to go and find out the whereabouts of this monster. He looks at Suu after her and asks her to do a jump like the one she was locked in before and put it on top. These dogs. And here this monster really appears when the dogs start attacking it. As soon as he saw it, he was surprised and said to himself, "This monster is just like garage cameras." He responds to the system and says that he really resembles her very much because his eye has the same function. Camera. This is because it conveys the image you see between the male monster and the female monster. This is even if they were apart from each other through spiritual recognition that chooses you, even the mysterious science. That's why, in some places, they use this type of monster as an eavesdropping tool. And a garage. He surprises me with his words and asks him if this means that someone is eavesdropping on them now. And then he continues in his secret, and wonders if this was a coincidence that the monster appeared the first time Susgret just happened. Talk about his father's badge. After that, he looks at the monster itself and says whoever the person who sent this monster is to eavesdrop on us. You are getting yourself into trouble with what you are doing now. She takes out her phone to take a picture of him. And you ask me if this was Ain al-Shah. She says I didn't know her well before from my father's book, but it's the first time I've seen him in reality. Here she continues to post this picture of his on the page and tags her father as soon as it ends. She finds him calling her all the time. She responds quickly to him and is very happy and tells us, "I was sure you would call him." Length. Don't worry, because we have already caught this monster and are waiting to find out who sold it. Meanwhile, I am surprised when he notices the monster on the mobile phone case. He asks himself if this was a gift from his father. Then he remembers when Bo used to do a monster to him just like this when he was young. At that time, he asked him and spoke to him and said to him, "Why do you do these ugly monsters?" At that time, his father responded to him and told us to surprise you only so that you can face all fears. And the problems that will meet you in the future are as easy as mine. At this moment, he finishes his thoughts and speaks to his father in secret. He tells us, "I hope you are proud of me because now I have become a master of monsters even stronger than you, the mestizos themselves." Then he speaks to the regime and tells us, "I can tame a lot of monsters now." He responds to the system and tells him that after I advance to the second level, you are now allowed to do so. You tame 7 monsters at once. In the same breath, it will be nothing but salvation, she concluded her words. So she talks to Lee and tells us that my father taught me that taming this monster is very difficult and there is no chance of success. There is also a little frequency in it, but she is surprised later on when she finds out that he has his family in his hands, and he tells her that he was able to tame him. That's it. At the same time, on the other hand, there is a strange flying monster named Harpy. He enters the building that sent this evil eye monster. The doctor who is in the administration center tells him that he took the huge monster but did not find the jewel in it. And it will continue after that. She tells him, "Why do you care about such a huge, powerful monster even though we have him now?" The doctor responds to her and tells her that you will understand after you look at this thing well. You actually go down to Harby to see what he's talking about. Then she sees a picture of Kyo and the doctor says, "I lost the signal at the evil eye monster in the entrance." Occult science number 86. The last picture I received was this picture. Harpy is very surprised when she sees Kyo and tells him that it is impossible for the huge monster to. The administration center notes it. 10 tons, not just 2. The doctor responds to her and tells her that we are now facing exactly 2 possibilities. The first is that the soldiers in the damage center are so stupid that they weigh the weight of this monster. Wrong. The second thing is that this monster was able to grow 8 tons in just one night. Harby becomes very shocked at that time and tells him how is this possible? Here the doctor goes to the monster they have in the laboratory and cuts out an eye. They throw them into the ground and then turn into a monster, the Eye of Evil. And he talks to them and says, "I want you to go and observe this monster very well and learn everything about it. Need. But at this moment, Harvey calls him and tells him to come here quickly because this monster, the Miss, is meeting. Signs of a monster from the Evil Eye Monster. And here, when a picture of Yusu appears, Harvey becomes very surprised and says, how could these hackers be able to do this? They appear here. Although the Evil Eye Monster that is there is basically connected to the Mrs. Monster directly. At this time, he starts talking to them and shouting at them. He asks them if they were the ones who gave this monster to raise them. He answers the doctor at the same time and he does not believe it. He tells him, how are you really able to control the Evil Eye Monster? Because if you do something like this, it will be considered a very wonderful thing. He yelled at me for the second time then. He tells him don't change the subject and answer my question. He responds to the doctor while he is scratching you and tells him, I actually wanted to make a deal with you. It is that you bring me this monster of yours here so that I can extract some genes from it. He would be surprised at the time and tell him, what exactly do you want his genes in? So the doctor begins to explain to him and tells him that there is an island 4,000 kilometers away from here. Its name, Gone Island. This is a picture that John from the scientific research team sent from this island 64 years ago. Yeah. The monster in this picture was the entire research. In order to be able to obtain more information about him, I conducted research on Huanda Island for more than 12 years. Yeah. But unfortunately, I discovered that this monster had completely disappeared 20 years ago. But I never expected that I would find a monster identical to him here in Chianhai City. At this moment, it really surprises me when they look to find that they are the two of them practicing. When they see the doctor's reaction, he gets confused and continues talking. He says the goal of my research is to create a paradise of monsters. The goal now is that I have collected and conducted research on tens of thousands of them. But unfortunately, all of the ones I have don't have anything at all next to your monster. Now I just want to take some of the genes from him and not fake anything at all. No, in return, I will give you some information that will also interest you as a reward. He thought to himself at that time and wondered if the monsters he had researched were like the huge monster that was. He had a jewel implanted under his body before. He says that if this topic is true, then it is very intentional. This is my time, because I feel that this man is just a crazy person and nothing more. He speaks to him after that and asks him about the type of information that he can give him in exchange. This topic. Then the doctor surprised him and showed him a picture of his mother. He tells her that we know very well that your name is insulted, and he also knows that you know any information about your father, whatever it is. Fortunately for you, I have a lot of information and a very interesting path about him. I'm sure you'll want to know her too. At this time, why is he surprised when he finds the Evil Eye Monster with him? He starts to shake and get nervous. They all started to swell. He screams at the doctor and then he tells him what you did to this mother monster. The doctor then investigates and tells him that you can let the missus hear your words as you are. I want, but you don't know how to control it at all. Here he starts explaining to him and tells him that I discovered that my real skill is performing operations on monsters. Through this, we can implant in them the essence of these monsters and control everything related to them. Growth. This is me so that I can transform spiritual awareness into electricity in order to punish monsters who do not listen. Speech. Or like what happened now, for example, which is that I let the essence ask for all the spiritual readings that were once in it. One and let the monster explode exactly like this plasticine. He gets very angry with me at that time when he realizes that he is torturing her like this. He asks him to stop what he is doing immediately. The doctor then scratches his head and tells him that it is very easy to stop. But you stop controlling your control over it first. At this moment, he looks at the monster with him and is very worried. He says to himself that all I know is how to do and how to get them back, but I don't know how to get them back again. Never again. The doctor sits and continues his words and tells him, I have another solution for you. That is, you accept to cooperate with me, but you do not have much time to think about it. Because you must respond as soon as possible before the mother monster dies. Because then, by adding her spiritual energy to you, the connection between us will disappear. It will be cut off immediately. At that time, I certainly wouldn't know your answer at all. He answers him why and tells him, I understand your offer, but I still reject it. Then he gets angry at him and tells him that even if this means that I will never find my other father in my life, I also will not cooperate with a fool like you who treats the lives of humans and monsters as if they were nothing. And here he is so fanatical that he tries to hit him. But she holds him tight and says, you won't be able to do anything because this is just a screen and nothing more. He understands why she is saying this and tells her that if I cannot hit him with a branch, at least I will be able to attack him. But then Cuba approaches or pushes them away from each other and goes to talk to the doctor. By himself. As soon as it appears on the laboratory screen, Harvey dies of terror from its huge size. She wondered to herself if this monster was the same monster that the doctor had been looking for many years and had missed. She says that I know very well that it is just a screen, but I also cannot stop myself from fear. Never. At this point, Q starts talking to the doctor. He tells him that I expect that you are the stupid person who trades in the lives of monsters for his own benefit. At that time, the doctor did not answer him because he would be very happy to see him. He says this monster is actually the same one that has been running around for 12 years. Then he kept moving his hand in front of him and asking him if he wanted to bite him or not. He replies to you and tells him, surely, no one wants to eat anything as special as you. But despite this, I will show you the consequences of your attacking me. And then a very strong sound comes out at that time, to the point that they cannot bear it and stop fighting with their hands. At that time, he gets upset at him and tells him to stop what you are doing because there is no need for you to remain angry behind the scenes. Screen. But she prevents him from doing anything bad at that time and tells him to see what is happening. When he looks at me on the screen, he finds that the monster is on the run and is unable to control her nerves at all and straighten him out. Above ground fear. Unlike the doctor, who is very happy and tells me, this is definitely the powerful, dominant roar. A roar for a king, and this is a very wonderful thing. But at this time, a crow kept looking at him and was surprised because he found the stored monster starting to startle him. And they all respond to QS roar. Then, on Saturday, she started explaining to them what was happening. She says that Q is now trying to transfer a very large amount of his spiritual energy to them. The path of the waves of spiritual energy of this monster connected to the mother. Because of this, the weak monster in the laboratory is currently responding to me. Indeed, at this moment, one of them is able to exceed and shorten the bottle of the capsule that is stored in it. All the while, he moves and starts running quickly towards the doctor in order to attack him. But Harpy is able to notice him at that time, so she grabs the doctor and tries to escape with me. But unfortunately, it is too late and you can only save half of his body, and that half. The second one is caught by this monster. And in this case, Asna looked down her hand and said, "It won't be good for you to watch this scene. Never." Then she calls the evil eye monster who has the flash drive and tells him to take advantage of the current situation now. And come here quickly. This monster actually carries out her words and does this. When Harvey sees him, she is afraid that he is delivering the flash drive to Leosubi. So she asks the doctor if she can go and fire him right away. The doctor gives her her watch and tells her not to worry, because I already targeted him. It is impossible for him to escape from me as long as I have my own solutions. She tells the doctor that I am down, that I am tired of the past years. Those who preferred to gather in the beast and conduct experiments on them were all lost because of our negligence. The doctor answers her and tells her never to blame yourself. Then he begins to summon strange things from his severed body, and this is what makes them run through him and be. This is the part that was cut off again. The doctor continues his words and tells him, I have already obtained information about the monsters on the island. Joan, that's enough for me. The doctor responds to her and tells him to let him take it because this information is like bait. You will let us catch the boy very close. Then we will be able to hunt it without moving from its place. He then continues and tells him that Gyuan Island is basically no longer a place for any human being. He can deliver it easily. Meanwhile, we head to school again and see why he was sitting on the floor next to Q after he fainted. They keep trying to make him wake up, but to no avail. Here he calls him to the system and tells him what happened to Q now. But then he gets angry when he finds that the regime has basically lost all its energy. He says to himself, this system is so stupid because it always abandons me when I need it. In it, he calls SUU after that and tells her to come and help me and see what happened to him, because he stayed. In this view, the conversation ended long ago. He asks her if the crazy doctor they were talking to could do anything about it. She responds to Sue and tells him that the issue has nothing to do with Dr. Zio at all. Because Q was just basically putting all his energy into the raw, he was subjected to spiritual suffocation. At this moment, why does he understand her words, but by mistake? He approaches Kyo to give him artificial respiration. He tells him this is the only solution I have. I will never hesitate to save you. At that time, Superintendent was frustrated with his stupidity. She tells him to stop what you are doing because we are talking about spiritual suffocation, not real suffocation. In short, this happens when there is a being that uses all its spiritual resources on the surface of a planet, the Earth. He couldn't help but renew it in time. At that time, he will experience symptoms similar to suffocation, and this is because of the spiritual affliction that exists on the planet. The land is not renewable and is not stable. The natural pressure that these monsters endure is much less than that of Mystican. Because their entire body consists of flesh and blood and is mixed with spiritual essence. If they experience spiritual suffocation, their vital functions will stop. That's why we can say that the behavior that Q did a while ago was an attack to make him die. Same. Unfortunately, now I don't think any spiritual energy came out of him at all. But what is certain is that he must have done something like this and knew the consequences well. Right now, you don't need to worry at all because the current situation is not a risk at all. After that, she gives him a bottle and tells him that this medicine can activate his vital functions and keep him healthy. He accumulates spiritual energy in his body again. Now try to do this and see if it produces results or not. Then he takes this bottle from her and starts opening his mouth and drinks this medicine and tells him, Thank you very much for your help, Lena. Flasnack notices what he is doing. She tells herself if he can't feel the spiritual energy, this means that he does not teach any skill at all. Now I don't know what kind of turbidity to take. So he can control monsters this way. At this time, the evil eye monster comes to the gym again. This is what makes Sue very happy. At that time, his sisters also ran into him. They hug each other and cry. So you take the flash drive from him and give it to him. She tells him that we have successfully been able to obtain the information we want from him. Now we can say that we are the ones who got out of this matter with Fizin. But he answers her why and tells her that there is only one of this monster that has returned. The other two dragons were killing him from the monster girl who was with the doctor. At that time, the flash drive thrower gets up on the ground, breaks it, and says, while he was in love with this monster, he chose to answer the flash rather than save his two sisters. Her marketeer is shocked by his reaction and asks him, "What are you doing? We should have won by now, but you cut the flash drive and you don't seem to want to find out the truth and your opinion. Your father actually disappeared." Why does he answer her and say no? We won this time by chance and nothing more. As someone who deals with monsters, I am sure that Dr. Zio will not die that easily. I am also sure that he will definitely appear again. This flash drive may just be a trap he wants us to fall into. If today the situation had been different and we had been killed directly, I don't think he would have been in front of us. No chance of winning at all. Now that I'm done, I won't be able to risk the lives of my monsters any longer, because they are basically always ready to sacrifice their lives to do anything I ask. That's why I pledge to myself that I must protect them with all my might. After that, he goes and hugs Kyo's brain and says to him, "As for the information, I will be able to collect it by myself when I have enough strength." She is very surprised by his words and says to herself, "Tariq, what can we get back to my father's motivation?" He was amazed that it could be like this, because even though he was being bullied yesterday, he seems to be very upset with himself. Now, here she goes, taking out a paper like this from her bag and giving him a surprise. When he sees this paper, he is very shocked, and he tells her how narcissistic you are like this, to publish your photos everywhere. But she responds to him badly by saying that this is the announcement of the membership exam for this association. Aside from the form of the advertisement, I want you to think about taking this exam. Because whatever your plan is in the future, it is impossible for you to enter the mysterious world. However, if you join the association, you will be able to take drinking with ease. Moreover, the exam is basically at least a month away. He mentioned to himself at that time why it had crossed his mind that he was raising this request, but suddenly he gets up and pulls him down and raises him up. He responds to Sue, telling her that I decided on his behalf that he would take this exam. Why does it upset him so much at that time? He tells him that you can't make decisions so recklessly. But suddenly a very white smoke appeared everywhere. Then Sue asks Kiona to sleep on the floor quickly. In fact, he does this and gives me his hand with the same words. Why is he surprised and asking what is happening here? So she responds to him and tells him that the effect of the medicine has already begun to work, and the spiritual energy in Q is already working. It began to decrease and erode. This woman understands why she is talking and waits for the smoke to go away and looks at Q. He is shocked when he finds that his size is very small again. He squeals at Sawa all the time and tells her, "You look like you gave me this contraction." From this moment on, time with us will count for exactly 2 months. We see why he was sitting on his bed and telling us that today I was supposed to receive my test results from this association. He then directs the conversation to Kyo and asks him if there is any news about the results. But when he finds no answer to him, he gets very angry and goes to annoy him and tells him to answer her. Now, but he doesn't respond to him at all. Here he thinks to me that he was giving him his phone to find information for him. So he goes after her watch to see exactly what he is doing. At that time, he was shocked when he found him sitting and playing and not looking for anything at all. And then he sees him and he is very fanatical. He says this is the 26th time we lose. He used the explosive device and used it on the phone. At this moment, he gets annoyed and keeps getting yelled at. He says, "Why do you show your anger on my phone?" He answers you and says, "I just wanted to know who I was playing against. How does my explosive vent work?" Here is why he completely loses his temper and keeps suffocating with him. He tells him to stop the nonsense you are saying and give me my phone immediately. But suddenly his mother enters, opens the door to his kitchen, and shouts at him. "And you say stop bullying you, otherwise I will beat you to death." Then she puts a plate of very large meat in it and starts eating it. This is what makes him upset and say, "Why do you always eat it just for him, even though I am your son as well?" Then his mother would come back and bring him an empty bowl of bread for him to eat. At that time, why did he sit and cry and say, "I was worried at first that my mother wouldn't accept Q at all," and throw him in the street? But it is clear that in the end, I am the person who will throw him in the street, not him. At this moment, his mother is trying to guide him. She tells him not to be upset like this and he tells me what happened in the test. She asks him whether he got good results in the end or not. He answers her why and tells them that they said the results would arrive today in the morning. But it's now 10 o'clock and nothing has happened yet. His mother would yell at him at that time. "And you say that when you asked me for money to take the exam, I helped you and gave you all the money we had. That's why I want you to know well that if you fail this exam, you will be punished for the rest. Your life." In this moment, Cube sees everything that is happening and is very happy and is dying to himself from the laughter. Suddenly, at the same moment, the door slams loudly, and the door is startled, and Lily is startled as well. She tells him that the result of the test came out fine, and I kept calling you since the morning, but you did not feel sick. Never. At that time, Lily Cube looks angry and goes to hit him and says that everything that happened was because of you. But your mother usually interferes and annoys him so that they don't hit him. At that time, she is standing there and does not understand what is happening, and she asks them if it came at the wrong time or not. After a while, Leo's mother takes action by removing the two by their backs. And you tell them, how do you think that I won't know how to deal with you? Here, as soon as she sees Sue, she is very happy and says, I know you well. And I know that you are the girl who stops and says kidnapping every time I go to a family meeting. School. Sue moves at that moment from her words and they both sit back on the table. So her mother says to her, why did I pay all the money I wasted for this test? Please tell me why he worked in the end. She responds to her and tells her that he got a very good result, even except for the exam. First place. Then his mother goes and hits him jokingly while laughing and very happy about it. Unlike Louis, who is crying because of the blow she still gave him. But in this case, you notice that my mother has very strange features. And you tell her that there seems to be something wrong with the matter because you don't seem to be happy at all. Sue responds to her and tells her that the first exam in the association was only a paper exam. It is based on the information I know about monster science and occult science. But the next two exams are the most difficult part of the entire exam, because the second exam will be based on physical strength. The success rate from the beginning of this association was less than 10% all along. The third exam is a practical test, and the content changes every year. On some occasions, it happened and all those who took this exam failed. My father was very worried about this at that time. But he gives her to me and tells her not to be afraid because I will definitely pass all these tests all the time. He tells her that even though she hasn't awakened any skills yet, however, I will be ready for the wake-up celebration this year. Sue continues his words, and you tell her that I actually came here for another reason. I am asking you to allow me to stay in my house for a month only, to train him and make him ready before the next test. Lee and his mother were shocked by her words. He tells her that your request is very surprising and I should have prepared myself first. But he interrupts his mother and tells her, I will prepare everything you need, but I will tell him the first thing before that. Take a walk. After a while, the two of them walk and arrive at the Chan Linghu Research Building. It surprises me when he finds himself there, and he says, my Suna, you used to say that we would go home. Mine. So you respond to him and say that in fact, what is in front of you is my house. At that time, why was he shocked and not believing it and asking her if the famous Dr. Chan Linghu would be him, her father? After that, the two of them enter this building, and why doesn't he believe it and keeps asking her in amazement if she really lived in a research center? She responds to his bad behavior and tells him that the entrance to the mysterious world of the research center is located underneath in a parking lot. Cars. Surely you do not know the information that people are able to possess the gates to the mysterious world. She starts explaining the topic to him after that. She says that the countries of the world have agreed that ownership of the gate ownership rights will be first come first served. I mean, in the end, the country that will be able to receive the first arcane science portal will be the one that will own it. That's why China appointed this association to be responsible for researching and developing these portals. But if the association owned all the gates for itself, it would create a severe shortage of resources for the rest of the woke people out there. That's why anyone can rent an arcane science portal like the deterrent force it was. Alalam rented number 86, which I entered before, but in order to be eligible to rent the gate, you must be the first member of the association. For this reason, I told you that if you pass the association test, this would mean that you have qualifications to enter the arcane science. At that time, he was surprised by her words and said to himself, imagining that this meant that he could own the science is his own and he and Kyo and the rest of the monster live in peace with each other. Then he continues, very excited, and says, this will definitely be the life that the monster begins. Indeed, he keeps talking to him after that and says no, but you don't feel strange every time you need him. You walk past this factory just to get home. She responds to me by telling him no, because there is already another direct entrance to the house. But we came here to take a friend. Then he enters a room. Sue tells him the evil eye monster, the mother has completely recovered after 2 months of treatment. Now that's it. You can take it and walk. He makes me very happy when he hears this news. The monster is also so happy that she saw it that she starts crying. But when he stands in front of her, why is he surprised? And he says to Sue, this is monster number 1, not the mother monster. For Zai is a transformation into this form and remains similar to it. Sue was surprised at that time by what he said. And you say, how were you able to differentiate between them? Then you explain to him and tell him that this monster is a complete moving entity. They can always be separated from the mother as they want. But if the mother's body becomes severely injured, one of the boy monsters transforms to remain the mother monster, and they continue their lives normally after that. He understands why she is saying this and opens his bag so that the monster can enter it. He tells him that it's okay. It doesn't matter as long as he's fine now. And at this moment, Sue leaves him. She tells him to stay here and I will quickly talk to someone on the phone and come back. As soon as she leaves, he is surprised when he hears his daughter's voice behind him. You tell him that the dragon with you is very cute. When he turned to her, the girl continued her words. She asks him if he is also awake, and she tells him, I can't believe it now that you have such a cute monster. At this moment, why would he be surprised by where this girl came from? Because she suddenly appeared. Then he finds her approaching him and telling him that it is very rare for my father to be such a monster. She asks him to allow her, but she says hello to him. He agrees to her request and this girl is very happy. The first time Kyo extended his hand to her and greeted her, he wondered why he found her nervous and said, "I greatly." No, and then he talks to him and says, "I don't know how to withdraw my hands at all." So he was surprised why he was talking to this girl and asking her if she had any kind of supernatural power. The girl responds to him and says, "You seem to be an adult, because what I have is just a small skill. Nothing more. This skill is that the more I press someone's hand and greet him, the more he rubs. And bigger so he can get rid of me. Also, every time you press on it, it increases more and more. Indeed, in these women, Reglin Q is a worker trembling from the heavy pressure that the girl has put on her. On it, and in a second, you are staring at him, leaning against the wall, and asking him, how do you feel when you are defeated by strength? My own. I was very surprised at the time by what happened. He says to himself that even though Q took his medicine, its size is small. However, he is a very strong thief, so how could she throw him away so easily? As for Q, he is very angry about what happened and runs to attack the girl. He tells her, how do you think you can defeat me so easily? At that time, this girl responds to him and says, don't be surprised, I just wanted to keep you away so that I can be closer to you. You're king. Then you grab the smoke pipe and throw it on the ground very quickly and it disappears in the place. Suddenly, she appeared in front of me, holding a knife and putting it on his neck. She tells him that it is better for you not to move at all now, otherwise you could lose your life. At that time, he tries to act, so he brings out the device that works with the skill of mixing, but this girl, you notice it, she always says that when a person's life is in danger, he holds on to the most he can lose. With it himself, at that time, he understands why if she saw his device, he would give her a surprise when he was a fanatic and say it was you. Who? This girl responds to him and tells him not to be afraid, because if I wanted to kill you, you would have been dead a long time ago. Indeed, she then continues and says to her, I will introduce you to myself. I am the coach for the big sister. I ask her to train you, and my name is Ji Fang. By the way, the sister had warned me before that you could suddenly strengthen your abilities. Does she think this issue has stopped because of the device she took or not? If this woman hears what she is saying, she becomes very angry and tells her, you are 7 years older than me. Years, let me pretend that you are young. You walk in on them after that and say I look like this. I don't need to introduce you to each other. She directs the conversation to him and tells him, this is the trainer you appointed to help me with your training. Since she has taken the exam for this organization dozens of times and then some, we can say that she has it. There is a very big grave on this topic. Jiminy misses what she said. And you tell her, why did you present me in this way? Because your words suggest that I failed the exam 10 times after some. He looks at her why and asks her if she really failed. She responds to Coach J, and she is very fanatical. She tells him that this is definitely not true because I was only taking the exam to increase my experience. Then talk to Sue. She asks her if this boy is the one she has so much hope for. She tells her that this seems completely unnecessary, regardless of his slow reaction and experience. Category. In this case, Q gets angry when he finds her mocking me. But when the trainer notices him, she starts mocking him and tells him that you still look like he wants. Take your revenge. Tabby tries to intervene and calm me down for a while, but Coach J prefers it. She provokes him. At this time, her condition is completely gone. So Lilac gives a very powerful blow and Trainer G catches her by her clothes. And when you say that, you are already mature and older than me. But despite that, you still act like these childish things. Basically, I brought you here just to train him, not to waste time. In conclusion, there is only 1 month left until the test. She responds to her and says that I did this because this person is very weak. Officials from this association would not agree to his joining at all. He also talks to me. He tells me that I am the one who does not want this girl to be my coach. Sue is now frustrated.